Hi guys, we are going to go through question 2 of the 2018 Aqueous examination paper. Let's get into it. Alright, question 2. So the first part is just a lot of information. Let's just read this and highlight some key numbers. So we got titration curve, 0.210 mole per liter HCl to 25 mils of 0.168 methanamine. They're nice enough to give you the equation. The pKa of that is this, the pKa of that is that. They gave you the equation curve. The equivalence point is here, halfway to equivalence point is here, buffer region is roughly here, just in case they want, just in case they ask you these sort of questions. Now, between 9.6 and 11.6, the solution is a buffer, so 9.6 to 11.6. Let me just redraw that. So that means pKa. Now, just in case, how did I know 9.6 to 11.6 is the buffer region? The buffer region is the pKa of the weak acid plus minus 1. What is the pKa? 10.6. That's why it's 9.6 to 11.6. Okay, so they gave you this, but you could figure this out on your own. Now, from the titration curve, estimate the volume HCl solution that must be added to CH3NH2 to above to make a solution of pH 10. This is a rather stupid question. Let me just quickly read this. From the titration curve, estimate the volume of HCl solution mass to make a buffer solution of 10.0. Don't you just go here, like just find pH 10, go across, so go down, so this is 16 mils. Okay, that's probably way too easy for year 13, but anyhow, so that's that, 16 mils. Just read the graph. All right, next question, explain how the buffer solution resists large changes in pH as the HCl settles. Okay, so this is more year 13. Now, we need to, let's just quickly scroll up, look at the equation. We have got a buffer solution of CH3NH2 and CH3NH3 plus. Okay, so this is our buffer. So what happens here is that how does it resist a large pH change when you're adding HCl solution? So when you are adding HCl solution, the CH3NH2, which is the weak base, when you react those HCl, you're gonna have a neutralization reaction. The as this is the acid, it donates the H to there, so CH3NH3 plus Cl minus. Now, what's going to happen here is that your CH3NH3 plus, as they've been produced, they can then go back and partially dissociate and then go back to where you were, and you're going to make some H3O plus molecules. Okay, so I kind of mentioned this before in my other video. So how buffers work is that you have a combination of weak acid and weak base. So when you're adding HCl, the weak base of the buffer will neutralize the acid. So for every single mole of HCl particles that you added, they are being neutralized and they don't exist anymore. So they're being removed, but the pH will gradually decrease. As you can see from the buffer titration curve, they will gradually decrease. We won't suddenly go like that. That's not a buffer. That means you don't have a buffer. Why does it still decrease? Is because you will use a CH3NH2 to neutralize the HCl to produce a weak acid of CH3NH3 plus. So let's just give you the numerical example. Let's say if I added 100 units of HCl, which is all neutralized, then I make 100 of these. So 100 of these, out of 100 of the CH3NH3 plus that are being produced, only 1% of that will further dissociate. So you make one of these and one of these. So you added technically 100 units of HCl, which is 100 units of H3O plus ions, and eventually only one of them ended up in the solution. So your pH, if you look at the curve, the pH will gradually decrease because you will have more H3O plus, but just not as significant as you would expect from a strong acid due to the neutralization reaction. Okay, so if you look at the answers, two equations they can do. You can say neutralize, you can do this equation, you can do this equation, same thing, but because you're removing the H3O plus, the pH doesn't significantly decrease. Okay, so I've done a little bit more, just like I always do. All right, so that's question 2A. Question 2B, list all the species in solution at the equivalence point in order at equivalence point. Okay, so we need to go back to the titration curve. Sorry, we have to go a little bit back and forth because I can't remember what solution we have. Okay, all right, sweet. So let's just write it here. We have HCl plus CH3NH2, and then that goes to CH3NH3 plus and Cl minus. Okay, I believe that's what it was. Let's just double check. Yes, that was. Okay, so at equivalence point, it means that you added enough of the HCl. So the two things that are highlighted, they are equal molar. So there's none of these, there's none of that. They're all being turned to Cl minus and CH3NH3 plus. But then your CH3NH3 plus can further dissociate, which is the same equation that I wrote above. They can partially dissociate into CH3NH2, and you will have a bit of H3O plus ions. So again, if I use numerical numbers, if I had 100 of these, I have 100 of these. At the end, I'll make 100 of these and I'll make 100 of these, 1:1:1 mole ratio. Okay, but then out of the 100 of the CH3NH3 plus, one of them will turn to this, one of them will turn to this. So you don't have 100 anymore, you have 99. Okay, so that's why if I do the comparison, your Cl minus concentration should be larger than your CH3NH3 plus concentration by a very small amount, and then this is going to be bigger than your CH3NH2, which is going to be equal to your H3O plus ions. And always remember, in year 13 aqueous chemistry, you always have the OH minus despite it not being in any of the equations, because in any acidic or basic solutions you are always going to get some hydronium ions and hydroxide ions. Okay, so don't get very excited that, oh, I understood this, but you know, make sure you always have your H3O plus and your OH minus in the solution. Okay, next one, calculate the pH at equivalence point. So pH at equivalence point is, again, never going to be 7. Okay, it's never 7, so don't even think about writing 7. So we have this bad boy here. This is a weak acid. How do we do so we're calculating the thing that I'm circling. We're calculating the pH of that. How do we do that? So pH, the concentration of H3O plus ions is going to be the square root of Ka times the concentration of the acid. Just had a blank moment. Okay, so what is the concentration of H3O plus? We don't know, but we do know Ka. Ka is 2.51 times 10 to the power of negative 11. Let me just double check. Right here, 2.51 times 10 to the power of negative 11. The concentration of the methanamine is 0.1068. Okay, all right, now where were we? Yeah, so this is where I will be a little bit reluctant just to go with the marking schedule. I'll do a little bit more. Because you guys are here for the extra stuff. You're not just here to read the marking schedule. Let's do this. Let's do the full equation. If you watch my 2019 one, then you see what I'm going to do, and then this will make more sense. Okay, all right, let's think about this. At equivalence point, the moles are the same amount. Yeah, so what do I know about the CH3NH2? Let's quickly scroll up. CH3NH2, the concentration of CH3NH2 is 0.168, and then the concentration is 25. The volume is 25. This is 0.168. The concentration is 0.168. The volume is 25 mils. Now the concentration of HCl. Now I probably don't need to do this. I can just look at the, I can just look here. I can look at the 20 mils here, which will give me the answer, but I don't want to do that. I want to, I mean, that's probably a smarter way, but I'm teaching you a method that will work for any equation. Okay, so just bear with me. I like to be thorough. The concentration of HCl 0.210. Again, I'm just copying answers to questions, the clues given from the question. Now, so what I can do, so this is before, and then we can actually look at the graph to prove that I was right. Okay, so we can do N equals CV to find out the mole, which is 0.2168 times 0.025, which is 4.2 times 10 to the power of -3. At equivalence point, the moles of these things need to be the same. These are 4.2 times 10 to the power of -3 as well, and then we can actually figure out the volume, which is N divided by C, which will be 4.2 times 10 to the power of -3 divided by 0.21, and you get 20 mils. Look at that. We'll go back to the graph and just celebrate. Okay, so again, equal moles, because at equivalence point they should be the same amount. Okay, so after, once they met each other, this is going to be 0, this is going to be 0, and then this particular thing would have a mole of 4.2 times 10 to the power of -3. Okay, but this is the mole. This is, remember, this is how many mole we have. We don't like to use moles in our concentration, in our pH calculations. Remember the equation I just wrote. The H3O plus concentration equals the square root of Ka times the concentration of the acid. What is the concentration of the weak acid? We know the mole, we don't know the concentration. So let's go from here. The concentration equals the mole divided by the volume. The mole is 4.2 times 10 to the power of -3. What is the volume now? I had 25 mils of CH3 and H2. I had 20 mils of HCl together, so my new total volume is going to be 45 mils. Okay, so that's going to be 4.2 times 10 to the power of -3 divided by 0.045 liters, and that's going to give us a, 4.2 times 10 to the power of -3 divided by 0.045, and so that's going to be the Ka, which is 2.51 times 10 to the power of -11 times the value that I got, which is 0.0933, and if you do those two things multiplied together, as you can probably hear me crunching on the calculator, and then square root, and then the answer is going to be, excuse me, I'm going to go across, it's 1.53 times 10 to the power of -6 moles per liter. So this is the H3O plus concentration. Then we negative log that bad boy, and then we should get a pH of 5.82. Okay, now I like using this method because you can do any buffer calculation using this method that I'm doing here. You can do any part of titration curve using this method here. It may not be the smartest way to do this particular equation right here, because that 20 mils, remember I highlighted over here just now, I can get, can you guys see this is the equivalence point I highlighted at the beginning? If I scroll down, I can see I added 20 mils of HCl to achieve equivalence point. So if I don't need to do this calculation because that's kind of given from the graph. But my point is that you need to understand the equivalence point equal moles. You need to understand equivalence point, they cancel out, then the moles stay the same, and you need to understand the total volume is what you need to get to the concentration. And once you get the concentration, substitute into the equation of a weak acid pH calculation in this particular example, and then you do the calculation to show, hey, the pH is not going to be 7. Okay, so hopefully that's helpful enough. Let's move on to the next one. Explain why the solution at equivalence point is a better electrical conductor. Oh my god, this is just such an easy question. If you have followed everything that we've done so far, then this is quite straightforward. When you have Let me just rewrite this equation again. When you have CH3NH2 at the beginning, this is such a crappy electrical conductor because you only partially dissociate into the conjugate acid and the OH minus. Okay, so you only have a small concentration of these two. The less free moving ions you have, the poorer conductor they are. But then if you convert them into the at equivalence point, where's the equivalence point equation? Equivalence point equation is when you, what we just wrote, plus HCl, you make CH3 and H3 plus and Cl minus. You have completely neutralized these two things, they are not there anymore. And look at these are all free moving ions completely formed from this particular neutralization reaction, and then you have tons of free moving ions. Okay, so I'm jumping through this quite quickly. Remember, we require free moving ions. The initial is a weak base, partially dissociate, very few ions, poor conductor. But when you dissolve this is supposed to be arrow sign, one arrowhead. So when you reach equivalence point, you have tons of these free moving ions, which is that and that. Therefore, you have reached, actually that's not that should be in equilibrium. Okay, and then so for the equivalence point, you have tons of the free moving ions. Therefore, you have a better conductor of electricity. Okay, so that's the end of this particular question. Yep, that's it. And hopefully you have learned something, and I'll see you guys in question 3. Okay, all right, bye bye.